What's good? How y'all doing this evening? Welcome back to the Don's Favor here on the Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast. It's your boy, the Don. Tonight, we are talking about the AFC divisional round, the Buffalo Bills versus the Baltimore Ravens. I got two guys, each from respectfully each teams. We got Joe from how you doing? Let everybody know where they can find you, Joe.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Joe Nubo, Ravens fan. You can find me on Twitter at NF Podcasts Live, as you see down there below my face. You can find my YouTube channel, Joe Nubo. I'm also Joe Nubo on Instagram and TikTok, even though I don't really use TikTok that much. But yeah, feel free to give it a follow if you guys would like to.
Now I need to get on TikTok myself. Hey, wherever you can get some viewers, man, that's where you need to go.
You gotta spread it everywhere you can, man.
Exactly, man. Appreciate you coming on. And then we also got Eric. Let everybody know where they can find you, Eric.
You can find me at BF_spy on Twitter. I work for the Buffalo Fanatics. I'm a writer and contributor for them. You can also find us over at thebuffalofanatics.com. That's our website. And same thing, Instagram, Buffalo Fanatics. You can find us there. I've been with Buffalo Fanatics just for this season. So I'm excited to be a part of this movement, if you will, the podcasting, the coverage. I love it so far. So I'm glad to be here with you guys. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming on, man. Hey, if you're new to the channel, y'all already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with Atlanta Sports Fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always, come holler at your hometown sports podcast. All right. We look like we got some people that's already in here. Joe said Ravens flock.
Yes, sir.
Who that? Man, we just had a Saints show. I get, hey, you going up the door. Hey, we talking playoff games anyway, so I'm pretty sure everybody root for somebody, but the Saints are in the playoffs, and King's Rim, he did a good job on that show too. What's good? What's good, Wallace? Brady, like you going for the Bills? That's what's up. And we need some more Ravens people in here as well. So,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah, they're probably asleep right now, but it's all good, man. It's all good.
Everybody's trying to get rested before the pregame.
Yep.
Hey, they'll be here hopefully in a second. So, all right. So let's go ahead and talk about this past weekend's game. We're gonna start with the Bills and Colts game. The Bills won that game 27-24. Josh Allen went for 26. Pretty much 25 to 26, throwing 324 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran 54 yards with a rushing touchdown. Diggs had 128 receiving yards and a touchdown, and Gabriel Davis had 85 receiving yards. Eric, tell me a little bit about that game this past weekend.
So my biggest takeaways from this game, I'm going to start on offense, and then I'll bring it over to the defense. First of all, I mean, Gabriel Davis, what a steal in the 2020 draft for a 5th-round pick. The plays he's making are very atypical for a rookie receiver. As we all know, sometimes rookie receivers struggle a little bit when they first come into the league. They're trying to learn the route trees, trying to learn the playbook, things like that. I mean, Gabriel Davis has come in here and just picked it up, like it was nothing. And it does help that he has Stephon Diggs to learn from. Some would say in Buffalo that Gabriel Davis is kind of Diggs' protege, if you will. But as for the rest of the offense, the reason why the Bills won that game is because of Josh Allen, plain and simple. If the Bills don't have Josh Allen, they don't beat the Colts. That's just how it is. 74% completion percentage on the day against a very, very good Colts defense, a very well-coached, balanced team. Before Joe came on, we talked a little bit about balance. You need to have that in today's day and age. And the Colts are a very, very good team. I would argue underrated. As for the rest of the offense, Dawson Knox, tight end. I know the Ravens love their tight ends, and tight ends over there on the Ravens are very, very good. Dawson Knox continues to kind of have a subtle coming out party. He's been hot, to finish off the season, and that continued in the Colts game. He was 100% on catches. So that's also a very good thing. Tyler Bass, rookie kicker. I mean, he hit one from 54 in the Bills Stadium in January. That's
Hale
impressive.
Southern. Hale Southern. He from Georgia Southern. I
Yep,
covered
he's from
Georgia
Georgia.
Southern games last year, and I saw him. He was kicking 53 yarders like in hurricane weather.
Absolutely.
That man's good. So
He's doing something on kickoffs. He didn't do it against the Colts. He did it against Miami. But him and Bajorquez, our punter, they've been working on something where Bajorquez is teaching him how to put air under the ball. So what he's doing on kickoffs is he's trying to get it up there higher so it takes longer. When it comes down on the other end, the gunners are already closer to the returner. So that's kind of been an interesting development to watch. And I mean, Stephon Diggs, we all know about Stephon Diggs. Guy is just, he's an elite receiver, top 5 in the league for sure. You know, I don't know if I can put him 1 because of Hopkins and who's Aaron Rodgers guy out there?
Devontae Adams.
Yes, Devontae Adams. I don't know if I can put him 1, but he's close. And you know, with the defense, the Bills defense, they did not show up against the Colts, not very well. You also do have to consider Rivers played a great game. He was getting the ball out at average 2.1 seconds from snap to release. So that's quick. He's only been sacked 16 times this season. So not a lot of sacks either. And that's against all teams.
I was,
you know, we're talking about a
defense like that. That defense disappointed me in that game because I really like Matt Eberflus, but we ain't even interview. I don't think the Falcons even called this man in for an interview. So yeah, they
should have. I mean, the Colts defense played well. They did have some problems with gap integrity and with penalties, though. I mean, that fourth down when Josh got what was his name, Kimoko Toure to jump. I mean, you can't do that in a playoff game. I mean, that's, you know, so the Bills defense didn't show up as well as they could have, but it also wasn't their worst game. So the Bills are one of these teams that when something doesn't go right, they fix it. So I would expect a better showing from the Bills defense this coming week. And one last point on the defense, that fumble that they called a non-fumble after reviewing it for 7 years, that was a fumble.
Okay.
I mean, that was a fumble. So.
Yeah.
Probably should have been, but
You know how it is sometimes, man. Especially.
I mean, those mistakes. They screw over every team. I mean, we saw it with the Saints a couple of years ago with that pass interference penalty. You know, I'm sure the Ravens. I'm sure you guys have been screwed on penalties before.
There is nothing more that pisses me off than bad refereeing, and you see it almost every single game. Just league wide, and it pisses me off to like no end. Can I curse on this podcast?
Especially in the playoffs, too.
Go ahead, man.
Okay.
Go ahead, man.
Just want to make sure that we're not, you know, keeping it clean here.
You good, man. It's fine. It's after 9 o'clock. Everybody that's you know,
after dark.
To be in bed. So exactly. All right, so let's get into the Ravens and the Titans recap. Ravens won this game 20-13. Jackson threw 17-24, 179 yards with 1 interception. However, he ran for 136 yards on the ground and scored a touchdown. J.K. all day rushed for 43 yards and he scored a touchdown. Hollywood Brown had 109 receiving yards. I want to talk about this Ravens defense that I love so much. Derek Wolfe had a sack. Marcus Peters had a pick. Ravens defense, this is the thing. They kept Derrick Henry, like he had like 2.2 yards a carry. He only ran 40 yards that game. That right there helped y'all win the game because if he wouldn't have ran over 100 yards, y'all probably would have been sitting on the couch this week, man.
Hey Joe, do you think they were watching Bills tape at all for that game last week? Because we held Henry to 42.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they were watching that Bills game and really just everywhere else that have had success because historically, man, especially these past 2 years, we just have not been able to stop Derrick Henry whatsoever.
Y'all just was. I looked at y'all DVOA since last year, and like y'all run defenses hasn't been that good. But pass defense, y'all are like top of the league. Yeah. And you know, because I love Don Martindale. I'm not even considering here a lot of you. I wanted him to be our next head coach, but Falcons not call this man in, so I don't know why.
Does he prefer Don or Wink, Joe?
We usually call him Wink Martindale. That's pretty much what we call him around here. But yeah, I mean Don Wink doesn't same thing. It's the same guy, right? So No, but yeah, I would prefer
Okay.
for him to stay, obviously, but I don't think that's going to happen. I do think he will be getting a head coaching job somewhere, unfortunately for the Ravens. But yeah,
I'd say the same for Dable too.
yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Davis going to end up leaving as well. So go ahead, Joe. Tell me about this game this past weekend.
Well, I think a lot of stuff has been made about this offense, right? Lamar Jackson, Hollywood Brown, right? J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. And that's fine because we do have a pretty good offense, when Lamar Jackson is on fire. Everybody knows that. But this defense absolutely stepped up, as you said, man. 40 yards from Derrick Henry. That is impressive. And this is really, I think, the first time that we got to see the Ravens defense truly, truly fully healthy was against this team, the Titans, in the playoffs. And what a showing that they had. I was concerned after the first quarter because we went down 10-0, and I'm like, oh my God, A.J. Brown is out here having a game. And Derrick Henry's going to get started eventually. Like, we were stuffing him for a while, but I just knew, man, in the second half, in the fourth quarter, he's going to get rolling. But it just never happened. And in the last 3 quarters, we held them to 3 points. And that was just an absolutely impressive defensive performance from the secondary. The defensive line is really, really stepping up. Calais Campbell is finally fully healthy, is what it looks like. Some rookies are stepping up here. Justin Matabike. It was just a very, very impressive defensive performance. I would probably say it might be the best defensive performance we've had all season long, to be quite honest with you. Just what we were able to accomplish there. If the defense can play like this, especially going up against this Buffalo Bills offense that obviously we're going to talk about very soon, we should have some success, I think. But it's going to be a challenge going up against Josh Allen. I was not a huge Josh Allen guy, actually, coming out of the draft, but he's totally proved
Neither was I.
Yeah, so I think he's proved a lot of people wrong.
Hey man,
right?
Ken Dorsey, man, needs to be an OC, man.
Yep.
If Dable leaves and y'all can keep Dorsey there, he should be the OC. This man,
there's speculation.
Look what he did with Cam Newton in 2015. Cam Newton to me he's not a good quarterback. He's a good athlete, but he's not a good quarterback. But for Cam Newton to win an MVP and then have a good stellar season, especially in the air that year, that's all credit to Ken Dorsey, man.
Yep. Right. To clue you guys in, there's some speculation in the Buffalo circles, the Buffalo media, the people in the know, that if Dable walks to a head coaching job, McDermott is a coach that likes to promote from within, and it's being expected right now that he would take a look at Ken Dorsey and wide receivers coach Chet Hall for that OC spot.
That'd be good. Hey, Joe, you have a question for one of your listeners. He said, "Hey, how do you think our cornerbacks are matching against the Bills receivers, and who is going to take who?" He said, "Marlins, for example, Marlon versus Stephon, Beasley versus Marcus Peters."
Yeah, so I think that this is definitely the matchup that everybody is focusing on, right? Is the Bills wide receivers versus this Ravens secondary, for good reason, because it's going to be a very, very good matchup, very fun to watch. I talked about it before. I think that I don't know if we're necessarily just going to stick one corner on one receiver for the entire game. I think you will see rotations. That's what we've been doing. Stephon Diggs, we know what he can do. He's, like you said, he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL today. He's a monster. He's a target hog. He's incredible, right? So I imagine we'll be rotating Marlon Humphrey on him, Marcus Peters, Jimmy Smith will probably get on him as well. You also got to look out for Cole Beasley as well over the middle. And they also have some unsung heroes there like Isaiah McKenzie and, like you mentioned, Gabriel Davis, right? So it's not only those top 3 and John Brown included in that top 3. Got to watch out for those receivers with this secondary. But I think if they play to the level that we know that the secondary can play at, if Marlon Humphrey can lock down, we should be fine. Marcus Peters, we know he has that he likes to take chances. He likes to get picks, as everybody knows.
Yeah.
But I think the secondary should be a good matchup against these wide receivers. But there's a lot of intriguing matchups here in this game that I think a lot of people aren't really focusing on. But that's fair. I like the wide.
One thing I wonder is, and Joe, I've been looking at this all week. I want to know I mean, obviously I want to know, but I'm interested to see if the Ravens defense is going to mostly play man coverage or play zone or mostly man in some zone or whatever their defensive scheme is going to look like, if they're going to customize it at all, because Josh Allen, he destroys man coverage statistically. He absolutely mauls it. And even zone, he's very good. I mean, he's a great quarterback. And then also I wonder, how do you guys adjust your blitz rate? Because in the game against the Ravens last season, you guys blitzed on 49% of snaps. Some type of blitz was sent. And this year, Allen ranks number 1 against the blitz with Patrick Mahomes hot on his tail. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to see what that's going to look like. And I also wonder, you mentioned Isaiah McKenzie, and I'll give you guys an update on him. He did have an ankle injury before last week's game against the Colts. And a lot of people speculate that's why he only had 4 snaps in the game. But he's good to go now. He's been practicing in full all week. So there is that. And I do think both of these teams have amazing secondaries. So
the Ravens defense is very man heavy for sure. That's pretty much like our base. We go man. And obviously I think we still are the most blitz heavy team in the league. And I have been seeing a lot about how great Josh Allen has been against the blitz, especially this year. And I think a lot of that is because of his wide receivers, how they're just able to get open. And obviously Josh Allen's legs, he's able to extend those plays. That could be a problem for the Ravens defense. We saw it. The biggest problem I think we had when we just kept sending blitzes against Patrick Mahomes, he kept rolling out to the right, extending those plays, and his receivers would get open because he has those great receivers. I could definitely see something similar like that happening with Josh Allen. But yeah, man, especially if this offensive line for the Bills comes to play. I was actually watching their matchup against the Steelers earlier on because I kind of wanted to see how they operate against a blitz-heavy team like the Steelers was, and Stephon Diggs was just absolutely tearing up that secondary from the Steelers. And Cole Beasley had a good game as well. So that it's definitely, if we stick just man-to-man all game, I know that we have faith in our corners, but it could be trouble. It absolutely could be. But, we'll just have to see, man. It's going to be such a good matchup for sure.
All right, you got a question. He said, how do you think Lamar Jackson hold up in his second playoff game?
Yeah, man. It's going to be interesting to see because finally he got that monkey off his back. He can't win in the playoffs, right? And I'm so happy that it was against the Tennessee Titans out of all teams. It's going to be interesting to watch. And I think a lot of people are making this whole thing about how it could potentially snow in this game, and Lamar has never played in a snow game. I don't necessarily think that's too big of a deal.
I wouldn't put anything into that. The latest weather I looked at stated that it was going to be, if anything, light dusting of snow during the game, and not that heavy lake effect that's like wet concrete. It's not going to be that. Winds of 10 miles per hour. People talk about the weather when they talk about Buffalo all the time, but none of those people really know what the weather's like.
Sure. Absolutely.
All right. So let's talk about the last time you guys played each other last year. Ravens won that game 24-17. Lamar Jackson, he went 16 for 25 and threw 145 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Josh Allen, he went 17 for 39. Had 146 yards, 1 touchdown. Raven defense, though, in that game, they had 6 sacks on Josh Allen. Mm-hmm. Start with Eric. Tell me, what's your memorization of that game?
So that game, I watched it, and then I watched it again the next day, and then the All-22, and then I've gone back this week and watched the All-22 twice again. Few things I noticed. Number one, Josh Allen was way worse last year than he is this year. I mean, it's almost like you're watching a completely different player. He did not have the weapons that he has this year either. And one big thing I noticed is that he did not know how to read or diagnose a defense. The Ravens defense had Josh Allen looking like he was in that Bird Box movie, like a blindfold was on him. He had no idea what was going on. He had no idea where the blitz was coming from on the other side. And like I said, it was 49% of the snaps they sent some type of blitz. Josh Allen just had no idea what to do. He also only had about a third, maybe a half of the playbook available to him because he just wasn't that far along. in his development yet. And his mechanics last year were also pretty bad, to be honest with you. His hips weren't level when he was throwing. His feet weren't set, throwing off his back foot, throwing across his body. Just was not a good matchup last year. But this year, I think the Bills and the Ravens is the best matchup we've seen so far in the playoffs. As for the Bills' defense last year, I think they did a decent job, better than most, containing the god that is Lamar Jackson. I mean, the guy is just disgusting. He's in the best way possible. I mean that. Lamar torched the Bills last year when he got free, but when they could contain him, it was mostly kept, limited. The Bills are a bend but don't break defense. They have since McDermott came here, and that was much the same last year. Now, I will say this. The way that their linebackers were used last year, it might be similar to this year, but the Bills have a completely different D-line than they did last year. We've lost Jordan Phillips in the middle. We've lost Trent Murphy's been inactive for weeks because he just doesn't have it anymore. He was playing in that game last year. We lost Shaq Lawson to Miami. And so the one area I worry about, and we saw this against the Titans, Joe, we saw Lamar get these inside quarterback runs.
Yep.
And I worry about that with the Bills because they are a lighter defensive line, on average about 30 pounds lighter than the most teams. And that's a huge gap when you add that up. What's going to be critical is, can the Bills linebackers have that good gap integrity and eye discipline in order to read those gaps and fill the holes where they come, because they will come. I mean, Dable runs the most complex offensive run scheme in the league, and he's taken it through an evolution even this year. So when the Ravens and the Bills played last year, the Ravens run game wasn't as refined as it is this year, just the same way with Josh's development and that kind of thing. I mean, from what I understand it, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, from the analysis I've done, it seems like Roman's run scheme is not that many different plays overall, but it's different variations of the same play. I mean, they have different pulls, different shoots, stuff, just different ways that they use Ricard. Is it Richard or Ricard?
Ricard, yep.
Okay, different ways that they use him. Lamar Jackson is running way different runs this year than he did last year. I mean, way different. So I think that it's hard to compare last year's game to this one. There are some things you can draw from it, but both teams have evolved so much that I don't think we're going to recognize the two if we compare them after Saturday.
Right. No, I agree. You made good points.
All right. I know you about to tell your side of the tape, Joe, but King's Rim, he said, how do you feel about Lamar Jackson when it comes to his accuracy sometimes?
All right, so let's talk about this, all right? So a lot of people say he's inaccurate, right? I don't necessarily believe that he's an inaccurate quarterback. There are some throws that he's inconsistent with. I believe you can describe him as an inconsistent passer. But it's very clear that he is an accurate passer. He can make accurate throws. He just needs to be more consistent. You guys saw it, I'm sure, with that pick that Malcolm Butler got on him. That was a horrible throw, and a lot of people made a big deal about that. I understand, but in the long run, didn't really affect the game at the end of the day. I would.
Man, y'all got defense that can back y'all up, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
exactly. So, yeah, for me, Lamar, like, a lot of people make the fact that he doesn't throw for 250 every single game, right? But it's like, if you're so dynamic with your legs, you don't necessarily have to throw for 250.
You don't need to. You don't need to.
And especially
same thing with
when you're
Josh.
Rushing for like 400 yards every single game, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah. So that's how I feel about it. I have faith in Lamar as a thrower if he needs to throw. It's just really he needs to be more consistent, which he has been getting more and more into his career for sure. So,
and I don't support the criticism that people criticize Lamar. They say he can't throw to the boundary. Well, they have to look at that in context. The Ravens are not a boundary throwing team. Mm-hmm. Their offense functions on the hashes and inside the numbers. It doesn't function on the boundary. And the Bills offense didn't either until this year because nobody knew that Josh Allen could make ridiculous throws on the sideline.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think it's fair to criticize Lamar and say he can't throw outside the numbers. The Ravens are not a boundary throwing team. It's an unfair criticism, and I call it out wherever I see it because it's just not fair. It also looks to me sometimes like Ravens receivers kind of they run the wrong route, or they don't do what Lamar wanted them to do. I mean, I've seen him get frustrated with receivers this season. That rain game against the Patriots, I mean, I saw Lamar blow up receivers probably 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
So
one thing I will say about this receiving core, I mean, we already know he's out there throwing to Hollywood Brown. That's his best wide receiver, right?
Man, that's it. Y'all lost Hayden Hurst to us, so
No
y'all
Hayden
don't have
Hurst, and I said he was going to ball out in Atlanta. I told everybody, watch, he's a complete tight end. He's going to ball out in Atlanta,
especially with the MVP quarterback like Matt Ryan. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, he's out there throwing to Hollywood Brown, and he also has Miles Boykin, who's Miles Boykin, right? Nobody really knows Miles Boykin unless you watch Notre Dame or you're a Ravens fan, right? We plain and simple, I mean, he doesn't have like the best receivers out there, but we did sign Dez Bryant. I'm not necessarily saying Dez Bryant has made a huge difference on the field, but I would say his impact has been made off the field, especially you're starting to see it with Miles Boykin. Before Dez Bryant got brought in, Miles Boykin is 6'4", like 215 pounds. He's a big boy. He should be going up for the ball, snatching it in the red zone. He wasn't doing that. But now that Dez Bryant has been signed to the team, you're starting to see more of that from Miles Boykin. So I think that Dez Bryant, in a way, has made an impact, even though he's not necessarily putting up gaudy numbers. Yeah, I mean, but it's no secret that through the air is not how we get things done, right? It's not how we get things done. Hollywood Brown, though, he obviously had an amazing game last week. He absolutely showed up. And if he can show up against this Bills secondary, which is going to be a very tough task because this Bills secondary is probably their strength of the defense, I would say, from what I've seen.
I agree.
It'll help out a lot.
It is. All right. So going back to that game last year, Joe, y'all having 6 sacks on Allen. Tell me how Don Martindale, how you think he's prepared for this game.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what he's going to do in this game because I don't imagine he's going to be blitzing as much as he did last season. What I noticed last year is that because of Josh Allen, he had this problem where he would just overthrow like everything almost, right? So we didn't even put a safety back there. We're just like, we'll let the air be the safety, especially because it was a windy day in that game last season. So they just said, we're just going to stick on your receivers man to man, and we'll see if Josh Allen can beat us deep if he doesn't overthrow. That's kind of what they did. I don't imagine that that's what the game plan will be this time. I definitely think that they're going to respect the deep ball. Yeah, no, it would be a bad idea to do that. So I definitely think they're now going to respect the deep ball. One thing I said is, honestly, like if it's me, I wouldn't really respect the Bills running game, to be quite honest, aside from obviously Josh
I wouldn't
Allen.
either.
Yeah, but I like Devin Singletary. Don't get me wrong. I liked him coming out of the draft, but to me, he's not a workhorse running back, right?
It's not even that. He can't turn the corner.
Yeah.
He can't turn the corner. He doesn't have enough speed.
Yeah. And I know that you guys just brought in Devontae Freeman, and I know you're very familiar with Devontae Freeman, I'm sure. Yeah. But we'll see, man. It's going to be interesting. I would definitely say don't respect the running game. If they beat you rushing for 100 yards with Devin Singletary, so be it, honestly. But respect the deep passing game. Stephon Diggs, you know what type of animal he is. I definitely expect them to, I think, to be, allowing more of the shorter stuff. Like if they can beat you with 100 paper cuts, so be it. That's what I would imagine that's how they're going to play this.
I mean, Wink was quoted today. I know because the Buffalo Fanatics tweeted it out, but Wink was quoted as saying there will be pressure on Josh Allen, and I quote. And obviously there's going to be pressure every time. That's what you're going for every game.
Right.
But I would advise, if I could get Wink on the phone, I would advise him not to blitz because it's a very bad idea.
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, the Bills' offense is number 1 in DVOA. According to the PFF, and against the blitz, Josh Allen you'll cut your heart out, stomp on it.
Definitely. So I was watching the Steelers game, like I said earlier. And the offensive line played very well against the Steelers blitz. I noticed that they were holding up extremely well. If they can hold up like that, because there are occasions that we do struggle to get pressure even when we do send the blitz. But the thing about the Ravens defense is that they try to take away, your dump off when you're blitzing, right? That's the difference, I think, than the Steelers and the Ravens, in the way that the Ravens blitz and the way that the Steelers blitz. So I think if Josh Allen, and I'm not at all doubting his ability to make, the second read, especially on the blitz, but they're going to make him make that second read. I think that's what we're going to be seeing in this game.
I also will say, if you guys hit him with zone blitz, if specifically on the zone blitz, if you get Josh on a zone blitz where it comes, maybe even a delayed zone blitz where it comes a little bit after the snap, sometimes what will happen is, and this happens to Patrick Mahomes too, if you watch him, sometimes he'll just keep dropping back and back and back and back and back vertically backwards down the field, and that's dangerous. So
I think we gave the whole league tape on how to actually beat Kansas City. We almost beat Kansas City.
That's right.
We play zone.
Yeah, you did. So those zone delayed blitz can be very effective. It just depends on what's the opposite play set that they're using on the other side, because sometimes it's just a situational thing. But like Joe, you mentioned it against the Steelers about the Bills' offensive line. Bills fans were nervous before that game because the Bills made a personnel change on the offensive line. They sat down Brian Winters, who nobody liked. He was playing terribly. But then they put in Ike Bodker, who was, a depth guy, a practice squad guy, historically, never really been a starter in this league. And they put him up on the line against the Steelers, and he blew it out of the water, and he's been starting ever since. So one thing I noticed about both of the coaches, and I know we got a question about coaching earlier, I saw it in the comments.
Yeah, I was gonna pull that up later.
Yeah, but I think both of these coaches are very good at managing their personnel. If something's working, they stick with it. If something's not, they fix it. Both these coaches are very well respected by their players, and I honestly love the way both these coaches handle things.
And both coaches are very analytical. They look at the trends, they look at the numbers, and they use it to beat their opponents.
Good relationships with the players too.
Yeah. Yep. Sure do. All right. So let's talk about the news. Now, Bills. Here's the thing. Bills plan to stop the Ravens' rushing attack. I saw that today. You want to chime in on that, Eric? Like, what does Sean McDermott going to end up doing? Leslie Frazier going to do with the rushing attack the Ravens have?
So I already talked a little bit about the Bills D-line. I don't think that the Bills D-line can really stop the Ravens run game. Excuse me. I think I don't think you can actually stop the Ravens run game. You can contain it. You can slow it down. You can throw wrenches into it, but you can't really stop it. I wouldn't go that far. But I mean, I think that the Bills linebackers are going to be critical in stopping that run game, especially Tremaine Edmonds. I mean, he's a very cerebral linebacker. He's very long. He's got a huge wingspan. He's going to be critical to that. Matt Milano also is completely healthy after tearing his pec early in the season. So the Bills linebackers are going to be key. And also the Bills, I think, have the best safety tandem in the league. And I'm not saying that because I'm a homer. If you look at their stats,
it's true.
They do. Yep.
Yeah, they do.
Hyde and Poyer, unbelievable. And I tell you what, Poyer hits hard and he plays physical and he gets involved in the run game. And so does our slot corner, Teron Johnson. Both those guys are very active in the run game, similarly to the way that the Ravens use some of their secondary players to come up in there and that stand in the box and brawl with the run game. I think in order to beat Lamar, or not beat Lamar, but just control him, the Bills aren't going to put a spy on him, because you put a spy on Lamar, he'll just make him look stupid like he did against the Titans. He'll freeze the guy and he'll leave him 10 yards behind him, and the guy doesn't know what happened. So I don't think we're going to see a spy. What I do think we're going to see is kind of that, I call it a picket fence defense from the linebackers and the safeties. So you're not going to have them stay in the box. You're not going to have them drop. But what they are going to do is kind of be that picket fence behind the D-line, and they're going to make reads as the play develops. I don't think we're going to see too much pre-snap stuff, probably just from the safeties, because the Bills do move their safeties around pre-snap. But I do think that once the ball snap, we'll see the linebackers and the safeties do some really weird lateral and vertical movement up and down the field, side to side, things like that, trying to basically corral Lamar, get him to go to a certain part of the field or force him to stay in a certain part or force him out of a lane that he wants to go to.
Yeah.
They did that against Cam when Cam was running. And the thing with Cam was he ended up taking a lot of hits, and you could tell that his throws got worse as that game went on, because he was just getting, I know he's a big dude. Cam's a big guy, but you get hit that much by safeties and linebackers who are trying to knock your block off, sooner or later, it's going to start to affect you.
Yeah.
And it did.
Definitely. So yeah, I was actually watching the Cardinals-Bills game the other day just to kind of see. I wanted to see like a similar quarterback. A lot of people compare Kyler Murray to Lamar Jackson, even though I would say Kyler Murray probably has the better arm, but he's definitely not as explosive of a runner, I would say, as Lamar
I don't
Jackson.
know why they compare Kyler Murray. I compare Kyler Murray to Russell Wilson more than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
definitely.
I
think Lamar is, Lamar's a hyper athlete.
So in that game, what I noticed is that Kenyon Drake had a pretty big game, and the way that he was able to get those yards was up the middle on that defensive line of the Bills, right? So I don't know what it is. I know Ed Oliver was a first-round pick, and he seems to have been, I don't want to say disappointing, but definitely not as good in the running game as you might hope, right?
I can explain that for you real quick if you want.
Sure.
So the thing with Ed Oliver is he is a 3-technique D tackle. Right now, he's playing 1-tech because Star Lotulelei opted out because of COVID.
Sure.
So he's playing the completely wrong position, and he should be 30 to 40 pounds heavier playing 1-tech, and he's playing it as a 3, and he's still been okay as things go, playing completely out of position. So that's the thing with Ed Oliver. If he was playing his true position, I think we would be seeing much more numbers, I would say. He's still been good, but he's not getting the numbers. He's not getting the production.
Yeah. And there were a lot of runs that Kyler Murray had that I'm like, if that's Lamar, he's going all the way. Honestly, there was a lot of runs that I saw Kyler Murray had, especially on scrambles. So, and Lamar Jackson has been doing a lot more scrambling lately. It seems like like early in the season, he was just, if receivers weren't getting open, he would just stay back there and he would hesitate. He's like, oh no, what do I do? Now he's actually taking off, right? And it's been extremely effective against defense.
Josh will do that too. He won't hesitate anymore. He'll just make a decision.
Right.
And then also against Arizona, we didn't have 2 of our linebackers.
Okay.
At least not in a traditional sense. Milano was on IR, and Tremaine Edmonds was playing with a bum shoulder. So, there's 2 of your best linebackers are out in that game.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really ideal. And our safeties got beat up against AZ because they were doing linebacker work. I mean, Jordan Player was calling the defense. So.
Yeah, and I'm curious if the Bills are going to try to do what Tennessee did last week, which was Tennessee basically went back to the old Chargers thing that they did in the playoffs in Lamar Jackson's rookie year, which is where they just had safeties playing linebackers, right? And I know the Bills have the personnel to do that. I just don't know if they will do that because you don't want to take Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano off the field, right? They're just too good players. So
I don't think we'll do that, but I do think we'll see a lot of creativity from Frazier and the way he lines up. Because sometimes you'll have guys like switching positions pre-snap and that kind of thing. I don't know. That depends on how quick Ravens are with the snap. I mean, can they go hurry up? Are they a tempo offense? Can they go quick? To get defenses.
Hurry up.
Yeah.
I actually wish we would do it a lot more. And you guys were talking about how are you going to stop this Ravens rushing attack. I'll tell you exactly how you can stop this Ravens rushing attack. Hope that Greg Roman goes away from the run, which he does tend to do, and it gets everybody so pissed off here, especially in the Ravens flock, when he just decides, no, let's just chuck it deep for three plays in a row. Let's just go away from the running game, right? So That's how you can stop the running game, if you make Greg Roman panic.
Yeah, because he will abandon it. He will abandon it
exactly.
real quick.
So that's one way, but yeah.
All right, Logan Butler, what's good, man? He said, "What do you think the Ravens should do with Cole Beasley? That guy's a problem. Our linebackers are not great in coverage over the middle."
Yeah. No, I mean, Cole Beasley's going to be a problem, right? I think that all over the middle stuff, especially Patrick Queen, our rookie middle linebacker, he has struggled in coverage. There's some games that he plays well, but yeah, there are some games, like especially against the Chiefs early on, he just got bullied. He got dominated in coverage, dude. So yeah, it could be a problem against Cole Beasley. I imagine, I don't know. I imagine we'll see Jimmy Smith on Cole Beasley on occasion, because they do have him playing in the slot. I don't really know if I like that matchup, because Jimmy Smith is more of like a physical, bigger body corner, and Cole Beasley's definitely more shifty. Yeah, but it could definitely be a problem. Cole Beasley is one of those receivers that I think could definitely give us trouble, especially if we're focusing so heavily on Stephon Diggs.
Yeah,
so.
I could see Queen and Smith on Dawson Knox a lot more, actually, and you're going to have to worry about him over the middle, too. He's a problem. And Isaiah McKenzie, his role has slowly been growing all season long. I mean, he absolutely torched Miami just on his own, basically. So I would worry about that. I mean, Beasley's knee injury, I think I'll update you guys on that. It looked like in the Colts game, I mean, he was a full go. It did look like, though, towards, I'd say, the fourth quarter, he started to show some, I'd say, fatigue from trying to manage that knee all game. Now, he has been a full participant in practice all week. So that would tell you that it's improved to the point where he can manage that pain easily, because the week prior to the Colts game, he didn't practice until Thursday. So, and I think that's going to be important to watch. But as you said with Jimmy Smith, I don't know if he's good on covering receivers that can make quick cuts on routes and can have that explosive ball get off. But Cole Beasley's really good at that. He's an underrated route runner, and I think that's why he got that second team All-Pro vote.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get to the injury. Since you brought up Cole Beasley, I'll bring out the injury report on the Ravens. Matthew Yonden, he was sick. He did not participate. Marcus Peters, back injury, did not participate. And G.J. Fuller, he was limited in practice this week. If these guys don't play, will this be a huge? I know Marcus Peters. If y'all don't have him out there, like, that's gonna be a huge loss.
Yeah, we need all hands on deck for this game for sure. You definitely Fluker, not really much of a loss. Let's be honest. I don't even think he's been on the field for quite a few games. He's not it, right? No, yeah, but Judon, we definitely would like to see him on there, because he's definitely not the type of guy that's going to rack up a lot of sacks. There are some games that he just out of nowhere comes in and has 2 or 3 sacks, but he's more so like setting the edge in the running game. That's more what we use Matt Judon as. And Marcus Peters, I think he'll be fine. I do expect him to play. This is actually a very, very small injury report to what the Ravens are used to, what we had earlier on in the season. So, yeah, I expect all of these guys to play, and we kind of need them to all play. We need all hands on deck on defense, especially for this game. So,
yeah, I think both teams do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now on the Bills, and one interesting thing for you guys. I don't know how much it matters. Tyler Bass was added to the injury report today with a hand injury.
Yeah.
With a hand injury though, so I don't know what to do.
You'll need unless you kick off. You need to use your hands to tackle.
Yeah, unless you smack it.
Here's a couple bad ones though. We've got Ed Oliver and Justin Zimmer, both D-line starters, did not practice or limited participant injuries.
You know what? I hate
the ankle and a groin, respectively.
I hate Dan Quinn. I hate this. Hated this old regime. We had Justin Zimmer on our squad, and they let this man go. I'm like, y'all got to be the dumbest talent evaluators known to football. This man up here balling in Buffalo.
Yep, and
I just want to
we don't win that Patriots game. The first Patriots game, we don't win that game without Justin Zimmer.
Thank you. Like we needed. I was saying, like, man, we can keep Zimmer. I understand. We had Grady Jarrett at the time, and I think we had who else we had at D tackle? I forgot. But we should have just kept Zimmer, man. We should have just kept Zimmer, and that just pisses me off. And then y'all got Jake Fromm on the injury reserve right now, and Tremaine Edwards hamstring. He was limited at practice today. Diggs, he's oblique. He was limited at practice today. You talked about Cole Beasley already, and then Darren Johnson, his knee, he didn't participate. So you got a lot of people that was limited in practice, but the only person that didn't participate was Darryl.
I mean, this is the AFC East we're talking about here. I mean, McDermott has learned from Belichick during his tenure in Buffalo. Belichick is renowned for putting people on the injury report for essentially no reason. It's kind of a shady thing that I wish coaches wouldn't do, but if other coaches are going to do it, then you get that tacit approval to do it on the Bills too. So I mean, McDermott's done that a couple times this season where we're like, wait a minute, why is he okay? Whatever, okay,
It's scheming because you put a guy like Cole Beasley on there, the other team like, oh, he's on the injury report, so he might not be out there. And then game day, oh, he's suited up, he's going to play today. Like,
and a good example of this is that Stephon Diggs is still on the injury report, and last week he was on there for the same thing against the Colts. And he had 128 receiving yards. So clearly, the oblique injury wasn't too severe. Yeah. But McDermott does these things, and Frazier's a big fan of doing it too. So I try not to buy into McDermott injury reports too much. I try to strike a balance between like taking them seriously or not.
All right. Now, before we get into the prediction, we talked about a little bit about Wink Martindale and Brian Dabble. These two coaches, like, these are highly touted coaches that will be, I guess selling the ship for a team next year. Talk a little bit more about Wink Martindale for me. I already know a lot about Wink, but go ahead, Joe. Talk about Wink Martindale for a little bit.
Oh, I love him. I mean, I really wish he could stay on the Ravens, and he did already say that he does want to stay on the Ravens, but you already know that doesn't mean anything. Once he gets that head coaching job on the silver platter ready for him, I'm pretty sure he will take that. We had a similar thing with a offensive coordinator previously. Gary Kubiak said the same exact thing. I want to stay in Baltimore, and then he gets the head coaching job in Denver for the Broncos, and he immediately takes it, right? So if Wink Martindale gets that dream coaching job, I absolutely do think he will take it. But Wink, obviously amazing defensive coordinator. We've had, I think, top 10, at least top 5 defenses ever since he's taken over. Our previous defensive coordinator was Dean Pease, who ended up going to the Titans after he retired from the Ravens. The biggest problem we had with Dean Pease was situational, right? At the end of the games, he would call prevent defense all the time, and it would lose us games sometimes, and it would piss us off so much. But now with Wink, you don't see that. He's aggressive from the first quarter to the end. He's always aggressive, sending blitzes, sending crazy blitzes here and there, just trying to confuse. And he's very good at especially confusing young quarterbacks, right? That's definitely Wink Martindale's signature thing with his blitzes, that he just confuses the hell out of young quarterbacks. Like Eric mentioned, Josh Allen saw it last year where he just couldn't tell, who was coming and who wasn't, right? So that's what Wink does against young quarterbacks, that he just feasts on them. I love Wink.
And old quarterbacks too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some old quarterbacks too. Like Phillip Rivers had some trouble as well. So, I love Wink, bro. I really wish he could stay, but I do think that unfortunately he's going to be getting a head coaching job pretty soon here.
Yeah, I just hope the Falcons would have called this man for a job, man. But, hey, it is what it is. I love Wink. I know wherever he go, that team will be playoff bound. Yeah. They will contend for a Super Bowl. And
what's the consensus? What's the consensus on Raheem Morris? Because from what I
We're
understand,
not keeping on Raheem Morris right now. The here in Atlanta, we're looking at GMs right now. The finalists is Brad Holmes from Los Angeles, Terry Fortno from New Orleans, and Rick Smith, the former Houston Texans GM. And head coaches right now, we're looking at Arthur Smith. He just got a second interview. And we interviewed Brandon Staley, the defensive coordinator for the Rams. I feel like he is good. I feel like we should hire him. He's a young prodigy defensive coordinator. Since they not want to hire Don Martin, they don't want to interview Don Martindale, Matt Eberflus, or Dennis Allen. Those guys. And then
You're
we
a defensive guy, huh?
I'm a defensive guy. Yes,
Yeah.
through and through. We also interviewed Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator for the Packers, and
I would advise against that.
I trust me. Look, I don't. That's not my pick.
Yeah, we had him in Buffalo, so
yeah, he was with Doug Marrone, and we also interviewed Eric Bieniemy and Joe Brady.
Yeah.
So, but I think right now it's leaning towards either Fortno or Brad Holmes, and I think they're going to bring in who they know. But let's go to Brian Dabble. This is another guy I've scouted that I wish the Falcons would have interviewed. I did a scouting report on him as well on my show, The Dun's Favor, a few months ago. When after I did it, Brian Dabble followed me on Twitter. So
there you go.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about Brian Dabble for us, man.
I would say that Brian Dable's probably the best thing to ever happen to a Bills offense besides Jim Kelly and the K-Gun and Josh Allen. I mean, they're kind of a package deal, Josh Allen and Dabble, and I like the way that Dabble has developed this offense. I think that's critical to its success. I think his playbook this year has gotten probably 3 times as thick as it was last year, and he's doing a lot of different stuff. He's doing a lot of aggressive stuff. The Bills this year shocked even Bills fans, and us over here at the Buffalo Fanatics have been shocked by the level of aggression that the Bills have shown. It's almost Chief-like or Packer-like, the amount of aggression that the Bills show, and it's evident in their DVOA ratings. Mm-hmm. They're doing something different that I never thought I'd see Dabble do. They throw to receivers more than anyone in the league. Even the Chiefs, even the Packers, and the Bills throw on first down more than anyone in the league. And that's those 2 things right there are things I never thought I would see Dabble do.
I bet the difference on that the Falcons have done that a lot, which is not a good thing because we ain't got a run game. But continue.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I never thought I would see Dabble employ that tactic, and he also has gone away from the run game this year almost completely. I know the Bills aren't all that in a bag of chips in the run game, but I mean, in a game this year, we ran the ball 3 times in one half. That's it. So, I mean, they're not, it's kind of like how Joe described it with the Ravens. We do what we do well, and we're mad at Wink, or we're mad at Greg Roman, or we're mad at our HC for going away from what we do well. And I would say it's kind of the same for the Bills. When they don't employ their passing attack, which is what they're good at, Bills fans lose their minds. So I would kind of say it's similar to the way that Joe described it, just the other side of the coin.
Exactly. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the prediction. All right, who will win this game and move on to the AFC Championship to either play the Kansas City Chiefs or the Cleveland Browns? Yes, I said the Cleveland Browns, and I predicted them to win against. I predicted them to win against Pittsburgh. No. I really did, and I said that they were gonna go out there and go to Heinz Field and beat the mess out of them, and they did exactly that. Yeah, so
they did.
All right. So let me go with Eric. Go ahead and give your prediction for the game.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say that this is going to be one of the most competitive playoff games that we've ever seen. I think it's also going to be a breathtaking, exciting game.
I think this is going to be more exciting than the Super Bowl, in my opinion. But
I think that both offenses in this game are going to absolutely go off. I mean, outrageous numbers. Both teams are going to do exactly what they want to do on offense, and I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. And Allen and Lamar are going to show why they're part of the future, why they are superstars in this league, and why both of them, in my opinion, someday are going to win. I think Lamar's going to win another MVP, and I think that Allen's going to win an MVP, and he should this year. But I think that the Bills take this one 41-38.
Wow. High scoring.
Exactly.
All right, go ahead, Joe.
Fair enough. So yeah, I mean, this, for some reason, like, people were talking, especially amongst the Ravens flock, the Ravens and Broncos divisional round matchup in 2012, when we were on our run to the Super Bowl that ended up 38-35. That was the Mile High Miracle game where Joe Flacco threw to Jacoby Jones to tie the game up at the end. For some reason, this is kind of giving me those types of vibes. Like, it's going to be one of those games that it's just both sides are just going crazy, like having heart attacks every single play. Like, I feel like just offensive explosions could potentially happen, but also two very solid defenses, right? So this could be both sides of the ball. I think what this could come down to is who has the least turnovers, because we've seen sometimes Lamar can make these stupid throws, right? These boneheaded plays that he throws an interception. Fumbling hasn't really been an issue for Lamar. It has kind of been an issue on occasion for Josh Allen, although he has cleaned that up quite a bit. So I think whoever doesn't turn the football over more could potentially win this game. I think, obviously, I'm going to go with my Ravens. I'm going to go with my team. But I actually don't have it as high scoring as you do there, Eric. I think it'll be more something like 31-27, 31-28, something like that. But absolutely, I think it's going to be very close.
I don't think this game cracking 30s. I don't.
You think it's going to stay in the 20s?
It's going to stay in the 20s.
Okay.
And I think this is going to be a hard defensive game. Buffalo, they would need to run the ball, because, like, I feel like you're not going to really throw that much on the Ravens defense. That's just my opinion. So Dable will have to open up the playbook and open up the run game.
I don't think he's going to, because Moss is out.
Yep.
We're already down a running back. I think Dable's going to try to do what he does well. I mean, one last thing on that. This is a good stat to mention, and I'm sure you've seen this one, Joe, but against the top defenses, Josh Allen does the best. For some reason, he struggles against the worst defenses. I have no idea why that is. I've tried to watch film for hours on end trying to figure it out. Is he playing different against these bad defenses? Is he just not caring? Is he just like, showing up and, well, I guess I'll do this, I'll do that. What's the mentality? I haven't been able to figure it out. For some reason, he just gets like this extra gear when he plays a top defense. And it's funny because Lamar does the same thing.
Yep.
When he plays good teams, he finds this extra gear. Mahomes too. When he plays good teams, he finds another gear. So I think it's just good players in this league, no matter who they are. When they have that drive, when they are good players, when they want it that bad, as bad as these guys do on both sides, they'll find that extra gear.
Yep, absolutely.
Exactly. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with my prediction for this game. I feel like the Ravens will win this game. Well, no, I'm sorry. The Ravens won't. I love the Ravens defense, but I really feel like the Bills is going to end up winning this game by a touchdown. I already have the Bills. This is my prediction. I had this when the playoffs started. The Bills will win the Super Bowl. So if the Bills make it out of this game, this is going to be y'all hard tested game. So if y'all can make it past the Ravens, y'all can easily make it past Cleveland and Kansas City. Yes, I said Kansas City is not repeating. All right, they not.
They didn't finish the season strong either.
They didn't. They almost lost to us. That goes to show you everything you need to know. All right.
Yep.
So I feel like whoever came out of the Kansas City and Cleveland game, y'all go to the AFC Championship game. Y'all will beat them, and then I have predicted the Bills and Packers in the Super Bowl. And
that was my prediction as well.
Yeah, and I feel like you guys will beat, because y'all defense is better than the Packers defense, and I feel like y'all gonna win that game, and that right there should hopefully get Josh Allen recognition and respect around the league if he win the Super Bowl. And hey, I know Home Depot and Lowe's and Walmart, all these the tables will not be safe anymore, man. I'm gonna be like Bubba Ray. I'm gonna be like Bubba Ray. Mills, get the tables.
Get the tables.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, whoever makes it out of this game absolutely deserves it. And I will say, like, obviously I'm going to be upset if we lose, but if it's the Bills that beat us, I'll be fine with it. I'm just so happy we didn't lose to the goddamn Titans, right? As long as it's like, not the Titans.
Some teams you just can't respect.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I honestly feel. Some teams you can't respect because of, you know, certain aspects about them, character issues, things that they do, things they don't do. Yeah. I mean, we can agree on this, Joe. I hate the Titans. I can't stand them. Yeah. Everything about that team. I hate everything about them. And so, you know, there's just some teams that you don't respect. And I feel like the Bills and the Ravens, the coaches, the players, everybody involved has a healthy respect for one another. Yeah. And I feel like when you have a game like that, excuse me, I feel like when you have a game like that, where you've got that total level of respect, it's just a better game.
Yep, absolutely. It's going to be a great game. I mean, Sean McDermott's an amazing coach. Harbaugh is a good coach as well. So this is going to be a very, very, very good football game for sure.
Joseph, thank you for the support. I know I only got 15 people watching. You ain't got to put me on blast like that, man. It's cool, man. Look, man, we growing, man. We growing over here. You got to support.
Tell you what, Joseph, why don't you get out of here, bro? And you can unsubscribe from me because you're being a disrespectful asshole right now. How about that?
Yeah, we don't play that in here. You know what? All of us here are trying to grow. All of us here are trying to do good things, cover our teams, have a community, build a community. I mean, the Buffalo Fanatics is all about the community. We don't tolerate that kind of garbage in our section or any other of our other sections too. I mean, we're part of y'all's community now. Even the Ravens as opponents.
Here's the thing, man. People on the outside looking in at content creators like us, they don't see the work that we put into this. Absolutely. You know, this is a job. This is not a hobby. This is a job.
And listen, man, there was a time that I had 0 viewers on my streams. Okay, so the fact that you have 15, that means you're growing. Obviously, you have to start somewhere. You know what I mean? So. Don't let people like this take you down, bro. I don't support what he said for sure.
I'm not studying that, man. And he ain't playing, but it's cool, man. Like, look, man. Hey, I don't look. I'm the type of person. I got thick skin, so you good, man.
But this really ain't the time for that, though. Like 2020, 2021, people in this country going through enough. You know,
people broke. Trust me.
People in this country going through enough, man. I understand joking, but like, you know, this is the time to, you know, all be united. Yeah. This ain't the time for, you know, that kind of stuff.
Unless you're a Titans fan, then fuck off.
Hey, and if you're a Titans fan, then you know, just move to Antarctica or something. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But y'all want all the smoke for the Titans, man.
Yeah. And for both of you guys, anytime you guys want to come on a Buffalo Fanatics stream, more than welcome.
Hey, man, look, man, I'm trying to build this community with all NFL teams, man. So look, hey, anytime, hey, whoever win out of this game, hey, I'm gonna ask y'all to come back on next week, so we can do this again. You know,
count on it.
Absolutely, and you guys are always welcome as well.
Hey, appreciate it. Hey, we about to go ahead and close the show out. Once again, thank y'all so much for coming on. Eric, go ahead and one more time, plug your information.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at BF_spy. I am a contributor and writer for the Buffalo Fanatics. You can find Buffalo Fanatics on the website at www.buffalofanatics.com. And that's pretty much all there is for places where you can find us. Instagram, same thing. Buffalo Fanatics is the handle. Get out there, get us a follow, get us a like. We like to say, bing, biggity, bing. Get that like, get that subscribe, and subscribe to all these guys doing the work.
Exactly.
Both my guys here I'm on the stream with, so subscribe, like, comment, respectfully. Unless you're a Titans fan, then just, throw your computer and move to Antarctica. But,
Seriously.
Get us a follow, get us a like, and I'll say Bills Mafia, go Bills.
All right. Joe, one more time, man. Plug your information. Let everybody know they can find you.
So, NF Podcasts Live is the podcast on Spotify. NF Podcasts Live is the Twitter. Joe Nubo is the YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. You guys make sure to subscribe, check it out. And yeah, man, obviously subscribe to this podcast. This is a great one that they got going on, so please make sure you guys support it. And yeah, I mean, let's just be respectful, man. That's really all it's all about. And this is going to be a great game, and all respect to the Bills Mafia. Respect to all you guys, man. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, man. You forgot to plug your Instagram, not Instagram. You got to plug your MySpace and your Black Planet.
Oh yeah. I got to, you got to get everything out there.
You got all these sites
on LinkedIn too. Check me out. Nah.
All right. So, hey, everybody who watched live, appreciate y'all so much for joining us. I know some of y'all were still lingering after the Kings Realm did the Tampa Bay versus Saints game. So thank y'all for watching this one as well. If you're watching this at a later time, hit us up in the comment section. Let us know what you think about this game. Do you think the Ravens is going to win? Do you think the Bills are going to win? Or, hey, what's your prediction? Let me know. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out of the Atlanta sports fanatics and NFL fanatics, because we're talking about other teams during the playoffs. Since our team, the Falcons, is not in. So I still love football, so I'm going to still talk about it.
Yes,
all right. So as always, come holler at your hometown sports podcast. All right, this your boy The Don. With another episode of The Don's Favor. Y'all have a great evening. See y'all later. Peace.
Later.
Later.